Hello, this is Yogeshwar 7000 again, and I'm back with another interesting topic on Vedic astrology today. And today we'll be talking about a special dasha system. And as we know that the ancient sages have given us the Vimshottari Dasha system, and we've been following that. And I'm sure we all know about what a Vimshottari Dasha system is, how it operates, and how do we determine the periods of the dashas or the Vimshottari Dashas based on the nakshatras. And people who are not familiar with that, please refer to my earlier video on Vimshottari Dasha. And the Vimshottari Dasha takes into consideration or assumes that the human span is 120 years in Kali Yuga. A human will live until 120 years in Kali Yuga, and the 9 planets have been given rulership based on that 120 years, and those number of years are fixed as given to us by the ancient sages. For example, we know that Saturn has been given a dasha or a rulership over 19 years. Venus has been given a rulership of 20 years. Ketu has been given a rulership of 7 years. Rahu has been given a rulership of 18 years. So that is fixed. So what we do is when a person is born, we just see what nakshatra he was in, and based on the lord of that nakshatra, the period or the dasha begins. And as we know that, the sequence is fixed of the 27 nakshatras. The first nakshatra, which is Ashwini nakshatra, is ruled by Ketu. The next will be ruled by Venus. And the period, of course, has been given, to be 20 years. The next nakshatra will be ruled by, after Venus comes Sun, and there's a fixed number of years rulership given to Sun, and then it's Moon, and then Mars, and then Rahu, and after Rahu it is Jupiter, and Jupiter Saturn. So we're pretty clear of what the sequence is as per the Vimshottari Dasha system, and we are clear as to how we calculate it, how much moon has progressed in that nakshatra where he was born in, and then based on how much moon has progressed, we calculate the balance of the dasha based on what rulership of that nakshatra is. So we know where it starts and which planet rules over the number of years since the time of his birth, and that's pretty clear and straightforward. And we use it generally for in Kali Yuga as a general nakshatra rule, has been advised to us, has been recommended by the ancient sages to be using it in Kali Yuga. But other than the Vimshottari, sage Parashara, I think he is given 42 different types of dasha systems, and dasha is nothing but periods for people who don't know what. So the difference between Western astrology and Vedic astrology is that Western astrology does not take into consideration the dashas or the periods. They take into consideration the planets in the birth chart, and also they take into consideration the transits. And this dasha system is very unique to the Vedic astrology system. So like I said, the ancient sages have given us 42 different types of dasha systems, and the most widely used dasha system is the Vimshottari Dasha. However, today we'll be discussing about Ashtottari Dasha system, which is a dasha system which has been recommended by the ancient sages to us to be used to find out a person's longevity. So for longevity matters, it is believed and it's been recommended by the ancient sages that one should use it for more accuracy. And some astrologers use Ashtottari Dasha system for general predictive astrology as well, but there are different views about that, and we're not going to get into that. Let's assume that we're using the Ashtottari Dasha system to find out the person's longevity more accurately. However, there are conditions. When can we use the Ashtottari? By the way, have you realized as to what was the level of the human intelligence and brain at the time of the Vedic age when these dasha systems were given to us by the ancient sages? Today we probably cannot think beyond one dasha system, and we get confused, and we cannot even work it out accurately without the use of computers and calculators. And you can imagine, say for example, 10,000 years ago, when these ancient sages gave us these 42 different types of dasha systems, what would be the level of human intelligence? And they didn't have any calculators or computers. So the human brain was much more developed at that time, and unfortunately, as the ages progressed, the human intelligence has not gone up. It's been on the reverse. But anyways, so Ashtottari Dasha system we're going to be talking today about, and like I said, it's been used, or it's recommended to be used to find out longevity of a person more accurately. And the difference between the Vimshottari and Ashtottari Dasha system is that Ashtottari Dasha system, as compared to Vimshottari Dasha system, which is 120 years, it is been given 108 years. That's number one. The second thing is that the Ashtottari Dasha system does not take into consideration the planet Ketu. It takes into consideration just the 8 planets until Rahu only. So Ketu is excluded. And so the rules of finding the Ashtottari Dasha is, first of all, Ashtottari Dasha will not apply to all the charts. Well, there's no, I'm going to correct myself here. It could apply to all the charts according to some astrologers, but if you look at very, very deeply into the ancient scriptures, it will not apply to all the charts. Okay, so I'm just changing the statement here. So it will not apply to all charts, because why I'm saying that, an astrologer may see my video and say, no, it applies to all charts. So I'm not gonna have a confrontation with those astrologers on that. So some astrologers are of the view that Ashtottari will apply to all the charts. However, as per the ancient sages, Ashtottari Dasha system will not apply to all the charts. It will only apply in case Rahu is in a Kendra or an angle house, but not in the ascendant. So it could be in any of those 3, 4th house, 7th house, or 10th house. So if Rahu is placed in these 3 Kendra houses, then Ashtottari Dasha will apply. That's one. Or Rahu is in a trine from the Lord of the Lagna. Okay, so not from the Lagna or the ascendant, but it should be in a trine or a trikona from where the Lord is placed, and that's also called the Paka Lagna. And so these are the conditions. Now again, some astrologers also say that, well, if Rahu is in a Kendra or a angle from the Paka Lagna or from the Lord of the Ascendant, then also it will apply. But again, looking deeply into the ancient sages, it is only when Rahu is not in the Kendra or the angle, but it's in a trine from where the Lord of the Ascendant is placed. Okay, so 2 conditions. One condition is Rahu should be either in the 4th house, the 7th house, or the 10th house, or Rahu should be in a trine or a trikona from where the Lord of the Lagna is placed. Simple. Okay, so that's the condition. Another condition also, according to some ancient scriptures, it's not been mentioned in all the ancient scriptures, but according to some ancient scriptures, is that Ashtottari Dasha is applicable for daytime births when the moon is waning, okay, and nighttime births when the moon is waxing. So look at the chart. If the chart has a waning moon and it's a daytime birth, then apply Ashtottari Dasha. And in case the birth chart has a waxing moon or in a nighttime, then apply the Ashtottari Dasha. However, this condition, again, it's not overlapping in certain ancient scriptures. It's mentioned in some and not mentioned in another one. But the common thing in all the ancient scriptures is very, very clear that Rahu should be either in the 4th house, the 7th house, or the 10th house, or Rahu should be in a trine from where the Lord of the ascendant or the Lagna is placed. Okay, that's common. The other two conditions which I just mentioned is from other scriptures, from other opinions of various astrologers. And then one thing is also clear, that it is definitely to be applied to find out longevity of a person, but some astrologers say that okay, it can also be used for predictive astrology for all predictions. Okay, so there's a non-consensus there as well. So how do we figure out, that's the question, how do we figure out the Ashtottari Dasha system? So, Ashtottari Dasha system, what has been explained to us by the ancient sages is that take the nakshatra Adra, and 4 nakshatras from Adra, the nakshatra, 4 nakshatras from Adra nakshatra that nakshatra will have the rulership of Surya, sun, and 3 nakshatras from that nakshatra will have the rulership of moon. 4 nakshatras from that nakshatra will have the rulership of Mars. And why I'm saying rulership is because based on the rulership, the dasha or the periods are going to begin. And 4 nakshatras from where the rulership of Mars is, no, I'm sorry, 3 nakshatras from where the rulership of Mars is, the rulership of Buddha starts, and 4 nakshatras from where the rulership of Mercury is will have the rulership of Sun, because not Sun, Saturn. 4 nakshatras from Mercury will be Saturn, from where the rulership of Saturn starts, which will determine the dasha or the periods. And then 3 nakshatras from the rulership of Saturn will be a nakshatra which will be ruled by Jupiter. Now these nakshatras will not be ruled by what I'm saying from a rulership point of view. I'm saying these nakshatras will basically be giving the sequence of the dashas which will be ruled by these planets. Okay, so after Guru, 4 nakshatras from where Guru rulership starts will be the rulership of Rahu, and then 3 nakshatras from where the rulership of Rahu is will be the nakshatra where the rulership of Venus will take over, and 3 nakshatras from where the rulership of Venus is will be the nakshatra of again Sun. So that's how the sequence has been given to us, and this sequence based on the rulership has been given to us when we used the Ashtottari system, not the Vimshottari system. Okay, and the rulership, when we talk about this sequence which we just said, Sun and then Moon and then Mars and then Mercury and then Saturn and then Jupiter and then Rahu and then Venus. So these 8 planetary rulership will fall in this sequence which I just mentioned to you, and they've been given a set number of years or periods or the dashas. Okay, so the dasha of Surya has been given 6 years, the dasha of Moon has been given 15 years, the dasha of Mars has been given 8 years, the dasha of Mercury has been given 17 years, just like the Vimshottari system. The dasha of Saturn has been given 10 years, just 10 years as compared to 19 years of the Vimshottari system. The dasha of Jupiter has been given 19 years here in the Ashtottari Dasha system. And the dasha of Rahu has been given 12 years. And the longest dasha has been given to the planet Venus. Once again here, just like the Ashtottari Dasha system, but instead of 20 years it's 21 years in this. So the order is very simple: Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Saturn, Jupiter, Rahu, and Venus. And I've told you as to how the sequence is based on how to calculate the nakshatras. So 4 nakshatras from Ardra will be the Dasha of Surya, 3 nakshatras from the Dasha of Surya will begin the Dasha of Moon, and the sequence I've just told you is again Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Saturn, Jupiter, Rahu, and Venus, whereas these dashas in terms of number of years are also fixed: 6 years, 15 years, 8 years, 17 years, 10 years, 19 years, 12 years, and 21 years for Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Saturn, Jupiter, Rahu, and Venus, in that order. Okay. And of course I've mentioned to you that Ketu does not, or has not been given the privilege of owning any of these dashas, and the total number, if you calculate number of years, is 108 years as compared to 120 years in this dasha system. So what I'll recommend is, after you've understood, hopefully you've understood how this dasha system works, it's pretty straightforward. You know, if you compare it with the Ashtottari Dasha system, there are set rules, and then there are different rules here if you want to calculate the Ashtottari Dasha system. I wanted to give you some basics before you can get it at the press of a button from a good astrological software as well, but I just wanted to give you the basics as to when the conditions apply. That's most important. When you do a chart reading, see where Rahu is placed, and see where Rahu is placed from the Lord of the Ascendant, and see whether the moon was waning in a daytime birth or if the moon was waxing in a nighttime birth, and then you can determine whether to use Ashtottari Dasha system or not, whether you want to use it for general predictions or you just want to use it for longevity matters, and then try to figure out what dashas are, and based on the dashas you can determine very accurately the longevity of that person. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. So hopefully you did enjoy this video, and if you have questions, send me an email and write your comments on this video. And in the meanwhile, I will recommend subscribe to my channel and check out my website. There is a link below, and I will see you with an interesting topic on Vedic astrology very soon. Goodbye.